Stan Patryak will address us next. Stan is Assistant Vice President of Development for Living Water International. He has been working with LWI, both as a volunteer and staff, for 3 years in leading training and drill trips, photojournalism, and development efforts toward projects. Please welcome Stan.
Hey, thank you. Can I get everyone to stand up? I think our lunch was sustainable. Say hi to someone real quick. We can go ahead and start with the first slide. Yeah, we'll just start with the first slide. I don't know if my presentation's up or not. There we go. All right, well, you can take a seat, or if you want to stay standing, you can. I want to start by offering greetings from Haiti and Angola, actually, because of a collaboration with a Rotary group in Tennessee. Right now, about 125 wells in Haiti are being repaired. In addition, because of collaboration with a Rotary group, an orphanage in northern Angola, interesting story. The orphanage used to be underwater. About 10 years ago, if you looked at satellite images, you would find that it was ocean. They've backfilled that part of Angola. There's an orphanage there now without clean water. And every week, they pay $200 for clean water to be brought in by tanker. And just about every other week, that tanker comes almost empty because the driver of the truck has made a pretty good profit by selling some of that water that should go to the orphans to other community members. And so LWI Angola is en route right now to install a reverse osmosis system there to help give that orphanage clean water. In return, the orphanage will actually be in a position to sell water to the surrounding community. So it's a beautiful story. So just want to say thank you for that. I want to talk a little bit about Living Water International if I can, and I do have 10 minutes, and I'm going to try to be very quick. But you know, if World Vision can do it in 10 minutes, then we're not near that size, so I should be able to knock it out real quick. I think I have a click. Is that up here? Great. No. No. There we go. Okay, we do one thing, water, Living Water International. This is really a position of humility, actually. We don't do micro-enterprise. We don't do orphanages. We don't do health clinics. We do water. And so we desperately look for collaboration with other NGOs, other in-country partners, and folks like you guys. Just to talk a little bit about our approach. There are so many different approaches, and I love what Bob said earlier, that there is not a one-size-fits-all approach. There is not a superior approach to providing safe, clean water. We kind of have a niche, and one of these niches is drilling wells. And to give an example, in Rwanda, again, we don't do orphanages, but we partnered with Victory Orphanage. A few dozen orphan kids that they're taking care of. There's a lot of orphans in Rwanda. And the orphanage itself was limited with the number of kids that they could take in because of the walk that was having to occur to an unsafe water source kilometers away. We partnered with the orphanage and drilled a well in June of 2007, and by August, the entire church had been built, and a cafeteria and housing was being built. And there's a good reason for that. When women are having to walk kilometers for water, unclean water, just to consume, to drink, making the kids sick, limiting the number of kids that you can take care of, you're also having to walk kilometers for unclean water to not only consume but build bricks with. And so what's absolutely amazing about this orphanage is that after the well was drilled, hundreds of Rwandans were able to be employed to actually work to build the rest of that orphanage. And the orphanage immediately began taking in more kids. We also repair and rehabilitate wells. There's estimates, like in southern Sudan, over 1,000 broken hand pumps. So it's really hard to know what's worse, a community that's never had clean water, or one that has only to lose it, one that's had marked development, and then only had to regress because that water point has become inoperable. And so we actually work in countries to train and equip nationals to not only drill wells, but repair wells as well. So a little story out of Uganda. This was a little village, probably 10, 15 kilometers south of the Nile as you're going north up into Gulu. And was traveling with LWI Uganda, a group of nationals that have been trained to do well repair as well as drill new wells. And we came across just a small gathering of women over what was nothing less than a mud hole. And for me, we all have that one. For me, the girl in the white dress is someone I'll never forget. Absolutely beautiful girl. I don't know if you can see the mother looking down at her. Yeah, it's probably the way any mother would look at a grade school kid going, oh gosh, what are you doing? What are you doing? Just absolutely beautiful family. But we asked a very simple question. Why the mud hole? They didn't like going to the mud hole. They didn't have this idea that the mud hole was an okay place to drink from, even if they've drank from it all their lives. They knew that it was making them sick. And this was their drinking water. Well, the answer actually, they had pointed across a road into the middle of a field, overgrown grass, and they simply said our hand pump broke. It had broken about a year prior. And they didn't know who to call. Wasn't necessarily any follow-up with the organization. We don't know who drilled it. It may have been governmental. We're not sure. But there wasn't necessarily a check back up to say, hey, how are things going in this community? So a day later, I was there when LWI Uganda returned. And a teenager by the name of David Bakar said one thing when he saw LWI Uganda there: today will be a wonderful day. I think of all the things that make my day wonderful. And clean water's not often what's on my mind. But for this community, it was. So a cost of less than $2,000 and about 2 hours of work, the community well was fixed. A week later, LWI Uganda returned to drill another well in the community and has been in regular contact with this community. So for less than $2,000, we said about 600 people visit that hand pump a day, and they bring it home to their family. So the amount of people served is actually unbelievable. And these are the after. So if you remember the before. So this is what it's about, right? It's service above self, but ultimately it's the recipient, even above our organizations, above our methods. This is what it's about. So a little bit about us. We're active in 26 countries. We've completed about 4,800 water projects. Again, our niche is really well drilling and well repair. We've done some biosand, but 4,800 water projects is how many wells we've repaired as well as new wells drilled, serving about 7.5 million people a day. A little bit about our financials. This is important if you're an individual donor. In all our work through Rotary, 100% of what's raised and given and collaborated with goes straight to the field. So, but as an individual, if you're interested in what this looks like, 83% programs is straight to water projects. In 2007, we completed 656 new wells, 457 rehabs, and 800 biosand filters. So a little bit about our approach. We train. We're trainers in well drilling, well repair, and health and hygiene. We don't just train here in the States. The heart of our organization is to train nationals in all of these things. So in every country that we're active in, every country we will ever become active in, the goal is to train and equip nationals to do the work. They then in turn become trainers themselves, training more national teams. Picture taken in Liberia of some well repair. We're currently seeking to rehabilitate about 350 broken hand pumps. We're tripping all over them in Liberia. And then Central African Republic, where the situation's absolutely desperate. And we equip. So we train nationals to do the work, and we also equip them with appropriate technology. These are items that we're going to need to have a cup of coffee over. I don't have very long to go through our commitment to community, sustainability, empowerment, and appropriate technology. But I will say everyone that presented here, their passion and their heart's desire is for all of these things as well. And we consult. Our founder is actually, we've been around for about 16 or 17 years. Our founder is actually the inventor, developer of a semi-portable drilling rig. And you'll see it out in the lobby. He invented the LS 100, 200, and 300. This rig is used by us and many other water organizations around the world. We are direct implementers, so we have quite a bit of experience in the field, hands-on. The donor dollar basically becomes water after it reaches LWI. 17 years experience, and we do just water, right? So that means we're desperate for collaboration. When we're looking at a holistic approach to how to deal with a village, right, we're not it. But we're a big part of it. We feel like water is a big part of it. You know, we spent a long time doing medical, and then we visited so many communities. In Honduras, actually, I visited a community. And we asked, what do you do when your kids are sick with diarrhea? And they said, we take a community offering and we go buy bottled water. That was what they did. And so at that point, we decided, you know what? We're going to do one thing, and we're going to do one thing just as well as we can do it. So now what? If it's service above self, then it's the girl in the white dress above our organizations and above ourselves. So I always say, let's act like it's a billion-person problem. I wonder, for me, I sat and I got this press release of 300,000 filters, right, today that everybody's going to have an opportunity tomorrow to go see. And I sat there going, I wonder if the family in Honduras knows it's coming. So you get that sense of like, okay, if it's not about us, but it's about her, then do you ever get this sense, I wonder what it's going to be like. I wonder if they know it's coming. And just that sense of excitement that this is a story we get to participate in. It's not ultimately our story, but it's a story that we get to join in on. So now what? You can get trained. Again, our heart's to train nationals. We train nationals in each of the countries we work in to do the work, but we also see the value of training volunteers here locally. We don't just repair and drill wells. A big part of what we see, the second part of any water project, is health and hygiene training. Clean water in a dirty bucket's dirty water, right? Since we look at community wells, water supply management, how to keep water clean, is a big deal to us. Basic things like hand washing, things that we take for granted, can make a dramatic difference in the communities that we seek to work in. So that's right, you can actually learn how to drill a well. So if you're involved in another organization and you want to add a water component to what you do, whether you want to be under our covering, be involved in LWR or not, doesn't matter. We'll train you on how to drill a well with these semi-portable rigs. We'll also train in pump repair, which means if you're working in Honduras or you're working in Belize, I had lunch with a Rotarian last week that goes to Belize like every other month. And to be able to extend that hand out and say, we can help you so that whenever you walk into a village and the hand pump's broken, you'll know how to fix it. Right? And then also health and hygiene training. Jody Moni's here. She's from Michigan. Will you wave real quick? Jody runs our health and hygiene. It's a community-based approach to health and hygiene. Encourage you if you're interested, if you're working in communities and want to know how to implement really a community-based health and hygiene program. Even in schools, some of the most beautiful things we see is when we drill wells at schools and we see that teachers now, in between every class, take kids out single file to wash hands. Then you return back to that village and you find that the number of kids in school has increased because of hand washing, because of clean water. Another would be to go. I think when you think of empowerment and sustainability, we have ongoing projects all the time, but there's tremendous value in not just giving to people that need clean water and giving to communities, but you may find value in knowing communities. Bob, who's been in Belize, knows communities in Belize. Or, I'm sorry, not Belize. Where is he? I'm sorry. Dominican, thank you. So there's value in knowing these communities too. And so this year we'll lead 84 trips into Central America, Honduras, Nicaragua, El Salvador, and Guatemala. You can be there to visit with a community, get to know a community, work with our Honduran or Nicaraguan or Guatemalan national team to drill a well, work with our health and hygiene team to do a health and hygiene program maybe in the school, and then be there when clean water comes out of the ground for the first time in that village. And you can help. You can get trained, you can go, and you can help. In 2008, LWI has the goal to drill 1,000 new wells in the communities that we're working in the countries that we're working in, and to repair 1,000 broken hand pumps. We're currently doing, again, extensive work in southern Sudan. We're doing a lot of work in Sierra Leone for pump repair. We have efforts underway in Haiti as well. And with these 2,000 projects, we're ready to implement today. So these aren't meetings that we need to have necessarily to figure out, well, how do we make this happen? It's more, we have national teams that are trained on the ground, waiting to fix wells, waiting to do health and hygiene programs in schools, and waiting to drill new wells. Thank you very much.